Okay, well, it's been a little while, but I've got another unboxing. And now this one isn't slot cars right off the bat, but it's a die cast of something I do have a slot car and other material for, but never knew this existed. But anyways, let's get into this. Got one shot at this after I've opened it. Can't redo, can't retake. There we go. So, found this online from Quebec. And actually very quick turnaround. Yeah, just pretty much a day, 24 hours or so, and it's here, which is fantastic. And this is a die cast. I'm all 1/18 scale, and this is something I never knew existed. It's a Solito, and let me get this out of the way. And my requirement for die cast is that one, it's metal, and two, the bodywork comes off so I can see all that great detail inside, and this fits the bill to perfection. There we go. So yeah, everything now is resin and usually sealed, so to find something that's actual die cast metal and all the body pieces come off, this is fantastic. So here it is out of the box. What a beautiful model for an economy-based die cast, especially 1/18 scale. This is spectacular. It cost me, it was $140 Canadian, so much cheaper anywhere else. And then shipping. So I think it all came around $170. Compared to Formula One models now, if you bought a totally enclosed resin current Formula One car from Mini Champs or any of these places, it'd be $300–400. But this checked those marks for me that it was die cast, there is metal, and it opens up completely. So we'll take a look at that. Now, it's not a particularly heavy model because it's kind of a hybrid. The upper panels, the bodywork that comes off, are metal, but underneath, all the chassis, everything here is all plastic, but still extremely well done and nicely detailed, which is what I'm really after in these die casts. And here, let's take the top bodywork off if I can get it off. Oh, and there goes the front nose. See, so that you can see that is a separate piece that comes off. Usually take the bodywork and the nose is still there, and then you can pull the nose off. But anyways, look at the detail in here and the color paint. That steering wheel nice, which actually works. Incredible. Has all the cockpit detail. The safety harness for the driver. It has all the radiators properly colored. The intakes, if you can see it, are divided. The top is channeled to the water rads, and the bottom one is channeled back here to the turbo rads. So this was a 6-cylinder, I believe. Yeah, 6-cylinder TAG engine, which is basically Porsche, running dual turbos. So incredible power on these. And the engine detail is amazing. Look at the, even from the fuel tank, which is enormous in these, that's why it pushed the driver forward. You had all this space for the fuel tanks, and then you have, really a relatively small motor that is enhanced by the turbos. And beautiful detail back here. You have the transmission oil rad sitting over the transmission. Just beautifully done. So quite remarkable. Now, let me see if I can put this back together. And if you can see it, and you can see that bodywork tucks right in. Oh, see, that's where I know I didn't quite get it tucked in properly, is that bodywork slopes so that it channels air into that oil rad back here. And then, of course, you got these enormous scoops around the tires here that for coolant on the brakes. So this particular one, I usually like the cigarette sponsorship. This is an age, this is 86, when it was really going through a transition of not allowing the cigarette sponsor, which would have been Marlboro here. This has the McLaren, so not quite as appealing, but it does represent this car at the English Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch. And there's a great photo. And if I look inside, it's one of the spreads. There we go. Look at this. So it's the exact same car with that McLaren logo. So can't really deny the sponsorship being removed and the promotion of the McLaren team itself, which this one represents. Besides that, when I did look up, and again, I knew nothing about this model until just weeks ago when I purchased it right away. I didn't know Solito made this detailed and opening diecast as such. But I looked up various models, because again, this is almost on change for 3 years. So the 2 previous years I looked up, and one of them even had driver figure in it, and it had the Marlboro logo and such, but they're 300 plus. So this was a bargain, and I can't resist a bargain. So sometimes I let a bargain decide as opposed to the absolute ultimate. Anyways, from this one to slot car, to relate this, only one slot car, only one manufacturer made a slot car of this particular model. And they did this one exactly. The 1986 Elaine Prost, his last championship year with this car. And it is a SCX. And it's a Lexan version of, they came out with a few cars. I know this one had a running mate, which was the Ferrari of the previous year. Lexan, so it snaps in. Very good chassis here, which is adjustable. It does have a strong magnet to it. We'll give it a run a little later. It came with some extra rear axles and gears, so depending if you had a technical track or a fast track, it worked really well. Now you can see this one is yellowed quite badly. And I'm not sure if it's the Lexan, I believe it's the Lexan that's changed, not the paint underneath, because I look underneath, it's still a very bright white. And if you check one of my previous videos, I was showing how to get rid of that yellow with white plastic, which worked very successfully, except when I tried this one, I think it actually made it worse. This car is looking much yellower than when I started that process of trying to fix that color change. But anyways, we'll look at more literature and we'll give this a track test and see what else we've got. Track test time. Yeah, this one's a bit of a handful to get around. I was going to attempt panning with the camera. Can't do. I'll have to do 2 segments and splice this together. But this car, Lexan, it's 14 volt to really get it up to speed, and it does move. When I picked this up late 80s, this was by far my fastest car, but things have caught up, and I think this isn't running quite as well as it used to, being a bit old. Anyway, let's give it a shot. Can be a real handful, tricky with that center peg, but we'll keep running here. There we go, it's going good now, and yes, there we go, our track test. So let's take a look at some other models in my collection of that exact same car. We'll take a look at the 140 third scale, and this one is by Mini Champs, and a beautifully done model with the driver figure, all looking really nicely done. Compares extremely well to the 1/8 scale one that we just taken a look at, and beautifully done. Again, this has the McLaren logo. Again, any of these model makers are going to go for the non-cigarette one at the time. So very nicely done. Now, in a lower price range is this one, I believe, is Barago 1/24. And not a bad model. It's from an earlier year because it's got the double rear wing, but not with the winglets like many had at the time. So and this one doesn't have the McLaren or the Marlboro, but it has those stripes across the side to avoid any kind of logo on them. So very low end, but it does have some working steering, and a lot of the decoration here are decal stickers on this. The body is metal with all plastic underneath and suspension and wheels and such. So for a low end, it's not too bad. This works well because Brago put out a whole range of 124th in the years previous and after this one. So collecting all of them, you end up with not a bad collection of cars from those years. Now, I do have a model kit here. This is one I had bought shortly after this car actually ran, so it would have been the late 80s. And I had started this model way back when. Now you can see the bodywork comes off, but not quite accurate because the nose is attached to that bodywork. I suppose I could cut that off and separate it, but then there's nothing holding it to the front of the bodywork. Now I did all of the chassis construction, so it does have all the engine detail. This tag turbo, which is actually a Porsche engine, and it does, you know, it's very nicely detailed, gave you all the parts. Mind you, I didn't really do any of the paint differences inside, even the steering wheel and such that you saw on that diecast, so it's even much more accurate than this model kit. And this model kit is 124th. So if I put these two up to each other, you can see that even this is a bit overscale compared to this one. I would assume this would be more accurate. And if I take a look at the box, so it is 124th. It does show that exact car. I do have lots of pieces in here. I really got a very nice decal set here to maybe one day finish off. And really what puts me off of finishing this, and this is my problem with model building of cars, is getting that nice finish on the car, doing paint. And this one, to do this car accurate, you need that fluorescent red, almost orange. So you got to get that fluorescent color accurate, and you got to mask off and take care of all that, and gloss coat and everything. And yeah, I much enjoy the chassis details and such than trying to get that perfect coating. That's why I really went to the 1/18 scale diecast, because the finish on those are beautiful and really well done. So that's the other models that I have of this car. And again, I have a fair bit on this car because it was the dominant car for 3 years running, with Niki Lauda and then Prost winning the championship the year before, and this current year of the 86. Autocourse obviously covered that championship winning year extremely well. Here's that tag turbo engine that Porsche produced for McLaren, an exclusive deal. And it was very efficient and did a great job. Just going inside, here's those bars. So this is the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. So again, they didn't have cigarette sponsorship. That was banned, just like in Britain. But all the other countries, it was still game, and they're still using the Marlboro. So other books. I've shown this one in previous videos, and it's a great book. It goes, this is one's on the 80s specifically, but it goes to every car, every combination of driver, and updates to the car and such. So here is that 86, and we have Alain Prost, and we have K.K. Rosberg in the number 2, but very identical cars. Holy cow, that light's really reflecting off there. So great book. And as well, lots of other magazines and such on here. Here's Autosport doing their British Grand Prix guide, and that just reviews the weekend. There's that car and all the statistics up to that point for the McLaren team, and then all the competition. They also did a year in review, so it gave that whole final season, of which Prost just managed to win. The Williams were very dominant, along with the Lotus with Ayrton Senna. And if it came right down to the last race, and if Nigel Mansell didn't have that catastrophic tire blowout, he would have won the championship, but Prost lucked out. So winning just by the smallest margin. Grabbed everything back then. Here's a French magazine, and here's a nice, oh, there's a unique view, straight down view of that car. And you can see how accurate these die casts are on that. So very, very nicely done. Beautifully done. And now the last of all this is I had gone to the 1986 race that this car appeared in downtown Detroit. Yes, Detroit for 10 years. Had the American Grand Prix. They had given up on Watkins Glen and put it right downtown of Detroit and ran it, which was great for me because I could stay in Windsor and just pop over under the tunnel and watch the race, as well as practice and qualify. And this great little program here, there's the car with the two drivers, spectacular. And what else do I have here? And this is the circuit. Here's the layout for the track. It was right on the waterfront. So right across on the water here was Windsor in Canada. So it was an easy going over. The Renaissance Center, that was the center of the track went around. And it did have some interesting turns. It wasn't all just right angles, although there were quite a few of those. It still had some interesting turns and some interesting competition. So from here, I have photos that I took from that race that I'll end off with. Here's digitized pictures I took of slides. So finally got a scanner to be able to digitize these and get them into the videos. Here's Alain Prost, had a great vantage point by the pits here, seeing him coming in and getting adjustments done to the car as they tried to qualify and during practice. Also, really great vantage points of the drivers coming from the pits into the paddock area where you could actually get autographs, as you can see here. Worked out really well. Alain Prost here. Here's the start of the race. The grandstand where we're at, and you can see the McLaren there. We got K.K. Rosberg also giving autographs here, and coming up is the picture of his car. Probably one of the better shots that I took. So, yeah, thank you for watching. If interested, watch past videos, and I'll be doing lots more to come.